Well, joining me now is Richard Burgon. He's the Shadow Treasury Minister, and not one of those who's going to resign, is that right?
I won't be resigning live on air, Adam. Sorry to disappoint you.
Why?
Because I think that we're moving in the right direction. I think it's important that everybody, whether they're on the back bench, on the front bench, or in the Shadow Cabinet, get together, find out what we've got in common, which is taking the fight to the Tories and challenging them about the way they're letting people down the length and breadth of the country.
But, I mean, there seems to be two views, even within the Labour Party, of this. One takes that view that Jeremy Corbyn has consolidated his hold on the parliamentary party. The other is that he's split it even further, that there have been these 3 resignations. And also, he hasn't even done that at the price of getting what he wanted, because he, forbore from actually sacking Hilary Benn, who he'd like to see the back of.
Well, he's got a Shadow Defence Minister in Emily Thornberry that agrees with him on Trident. And Jeremy Corbyn made clear his policy on Trident. That was a policy he was elected upon by an overwhelming majority of the people who voted in the Labour leadership election. But I think Hilary Benn remaining as Shadow Foreign Secretary shows that the caricatures of a revenge reshuffle just aren't true, because Hilary Benn delivered impressively a speech, but he's in post despite the majority of Labour MPs, the majority of the Shadow Cabinet, the majority of Labour members disagreeing with them. So that shows that there have been some real unfortunate caricatures about the leader of the Labour Party.
But the problem with Trident is, you say he's got a well-known position, which is that he's opposed to renewal, but the Labour Party conference is in favour of renewal. The Labour Party manifesto, on which you're all elected, is in favour of renewal, and it appears a large number of Labour MPs are in favour of renewal. So is there really room to change that policy?
Well, the last time that a Labour conference had a vote on it, then yes, they agreed to renew Trident. But I think we need to look at what we've got in common. The majority of Labour MPs, the vast majority, agree with Jeremy on the key thing, which is anti-austerity, anti-cuts and anti-privatisation
So the manifesto doesn't
policy.
matter in that sense, the commitment to Trident in the manifesto?
That was the manifesto at the last general election. Obviously, we've got to work towards a manifesto at the next general election, so looking back isn't going to do us any good.
No, but if you get a vote, as you might even get this month or the next few weeks on Trident, the party policy surely stands that you support the renewal of Trident.
Well, the leader will take a view and the Shadow Cabinet will have a discussion and a decision will be made,
but
I'm sure.
But according to the latest new politics, the Shadow Cabinet will have to follow whatever Mr Corbyn says.
Well, the new politics is about recognising people have differing opinions, but it's about respecting each other's opinions. And I think what we need an end to is the Westminster bubble theatrics, the amateur dramatics, and getting on with the job that people elect us to do. Whilst this drama was going on yesterday, the government was pushing through policies which could see the end of council house tenancies for life.
I understand that, but the timing of the reshuffle, indeed the fact of the reshuffle, was Mr Corbyn's choice, wasn't it? I mean, you could have been concentrating on the floods and things like that, but he chose to have this internal party upheaval.
Well, there's nothing unusual about reshuffles.
After 3 months, it's quite unusual.
It's a standard fare for reshuffles to occur. It wasn't a major reshuffle. It wasn't large numbers of people being shifted around.
Right.
And if the media choose to wait in Jeremy Corbyn's corridor for 8 hours yesterday, that's up to them. I think they should be focusing on the flooding. I think they should be focusing upon the government's terrible policy towards council houses.
Do you think that terrorists should be held entirely responsible for what they do?
Of course, and no one in the Labour Party believes any other. I think there's been a false characterisation.
Well, so why was Pat McFadden fired then? And why was that identified by some of the people in the Labour Party as alleged disloyalty? That question he asked the Prime Minister.
If people believe that Jeremy Corbyn, because that is the implication, doesn't believe that terrorists are wholly responsible for their actions, then they're completely wrong. As my colleagues have been saying today, one of my...
So it's not the West's fault for repressing them in some way?
The people who are responsible for terrorist acts are terrorists, and no one disagrees with that. No one's trying to let people off the hook by saying it's not their fault. So it's another false characterisation of Jeremy Corbyn's politics by people, in my view, doing it for their own political ends. And they should be focusing upon attacking the Conservatives on their policies, which are hurting people.
Well, I mean, it has to be said that was a statement or claim made about reaping the whirlwind was made on the Stop the War.
It wasn't made by Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, well, Jeremy Corbyn was the chairman of Stop the War.
And it wasn't made by a Labour Party member.
But, I mean, Pat McFadden's gone. He was a working class Labour MP, as indeed was Michael Duggar, and now we've got someone who's married to a knight and lives in a £1 million house as Labour's defence spokesman in Emily Thornberry, Lady Thornberry, we might call her. Do you think Labour is possibly losing touch with its roots at the expense of Islington intellectuals?
Well, I've only been to Islington once. It may be that I go
Well, you
again.
better go there more if you want to get promoted.
But I think that the key thing is we need policies which serve the interests of working class people, of ordinary people length and breadth of the country. And by opposing austerity, by opposing cuts, by opposing what the Conservatives are doing to ordinary people, that shows that we're on the side of ordinary people. And that's what will stop working class people who become disillusioned with the Labour Party in the past. That'll stop them saying, you're all the same.
I mean, the odd thing is, I suspect Michael Duggar and Pat McFadden would agree with you on that.
Well, we agree on most things.
So why sack them?
No, but despite what the media say, the majority of Labour MPs agree on most things, and most crucially, they agree upon the need for an alternative economic strategy, opposed to cuts which make ordinary people pay the price for a crisis they didn't cause.
Richard Burgon, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That story will be in tomorrow's newspapers, and here